we're going to begin with the Monday warm-up since we missed it and I wasn't able to get it to you guys. Beginning with number 1. You can always use your left hand trick, but here are the coordinate points that would be needed. Then you would just use the formula from tangent, which is y over x, in order to figure out what the exact value for 13 pi over 6 would be. Number 2, some of us struggled a lot with this concept, but we're going to need it for next week's lesson. To find positive and negative angles, you need to add or subtract 2 pi to the given angle they gave you. Don't forget to find the common denominators. Then going to Wednesday, just simple SOHCAHTOA work, some review. That's going to help us for today's notes. Number 4, the construction of a ladder with the house. That one's straightforward SOHCAHTOA. Number 1, the one with the installing of a ramp. To find the angle of the ramp, don't forget you have to find the inverse. So then the inverse of either sine, cosine, or tangent, whichever one you use. And then we will do Friday's warm-up on Friday when I get back. So now we're going to shift to today's notes. We're gonna dust the loose leaf paper that you should have gotten also with your packet. It looks like the notes, how we always take it. So you'll follow along and hopefully the notes will be clear. If not, on Friday I'll come back and see where we have questions, but I am checking that your notes should be complete. So, I apologize for the writing, but it's kind of hard to write on this computer. The title is Trig Functions of Any Angle. So students will be able to evaluate trigonometric functions of any angle. So recall from semester 1, I know, it was so long ago. But remember, in semester 1, we worked with the unicircle with a radius of what? Of 1, yes. So, but that doesn't always happen. The radius is not always 1. Sometimes you're not given the radius. So we have to figure it out using this formula. R equals the square root of x squared plus y squared, where the radius cannot be 0. Because if the radius is 0, then technically it's not a circle. So we're going to use this to apply it to the trig functions. So recalling from semester 1, we knew that sine of theta was y over 1. Cosine of theta was x over 1. And then tangent was tangent of theta was y over x. But remember, we used 1 because the radius was what? Yes, because the radius was 1. But now we don't know the radius. So instead, this is going to be our new formulas. Y over r. Cosine theta is x over r. And would tangent change? It will not. It will stay the same. But now we can also figure out the reciprocal ones. So then we have cosecant of theta, which is just r over y, secant of theta, which is r over x, and then will cotangent change? No, it will not, because it doesn't use the radius. So the ones that stay the same are tangent and cotangent, because they do not use the radius. So now moving on to apply this to an example. Example 1. We're going to let -3, 4 be a point on the terminal side of theta, and we're going to find sine, cosine, and tangent of theta. So before, the points they will give us were all radians from the unit circle. Now they're going to be coordinate points, which I have to plug in the radius formula because I don't know the radius. So I have x, I have y. My formula was square root of x squared plus y squared. So then my radius is going to be -3 to the power of 2 plus 4 to the power of 2, where r is the square root of 25. So then the radius is 5. Now that I have the radius, I can use the trigonometric formulas. It told me to find sine, cosine, and tangent. So starting, let me switch colors. Starting with sine of theta, we have y over r. My y is 4 from the earlier point, and my radius, my r, is 5. Bam, you're done. Then you go to cosine. Cosine is x over r. X is -3, and your radius is 5. And then the last one, tangent of theta, which is y over x, so 4 over -3. And you have your 3 values. So take some time now to try to figure out the example on your own. I will write the final answer, but I'll give you a minute to try to figure it out before I expose the work to it. Your packet consists of review and some of these problems. You are not expected to finish your packets because we will also work on it on Friday. The only thing you are expected to complete are your notes, and try to get at least some problems done from the packet because you do have an hour and 40 minutes and something should be done, and you should get your points for today. So easy day, just giving it a few more seconds so we can figure it out on our own. All right, I'm gonna begin with the radius. You should have gotten 13. If you didn't, check your signs. Maybe you didn't put parentheses when you took the power of 2. And now, finding the sine, you should have -5 over 13. For cosine, you should have -12 over 13. And tangent is just -5 over -12. But what happens to the negatives? They cancel, so you have +5 over +12. Those are all your notes for today. Don't forget to staple them into your notebook. Do not turn anything in. I will be checking it on Friday. See you on Friday.